Am I the asshole for how I responded to my stepfather's comment? This happened a year ago, but I, 19, still think about it. My mom, stepfather, and I were at a bookstore together. We saw a shelf with LGBT fiction, and my stepfather said that it's because people have an agenda and try to convert others to their degenerate lifestyle. I was never surprised by his stance on our community, since he's from a country where homosexuality is still illegal, but it still pissed me off. So I told him how I grew up watching hetero movies like Twilight, and they didn't turn me straight. He and my mom had a massive argument about how she kept my orientation a secret. I left that night and have been living with my grandma ever since. Ever since leaving, I've only met my mom at the mall and not at her house. Last month, she told me that by coming out I put her in a difficult spot and that her relationship with him hasn't been the same. Not the asshole, sounds like you're much better off at your grandmother's. She told me that by coming out I put her in a difficult spot and that her relationship with him hasn't been the same, nor should it be. His views are ignorant and bigoted. What I really don't understand is why she wants the relationship with someone so hateful, when she ought to have the biggest ever ick. You should be free to be your authentic self, and did nothing wrong by making a logical argument. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Tell her you are not responsible for idiots who think biology is a conspiracy or agenda. And you are also not responsible for her poor taste in men. Face with rolling eyes. Not the asshole. Good grief, your mom is selfish and utterly failed you as a mother. You are not an accessory in her life. You should be a priority over her new husband. I am sorry she let you down. Her relationship with him is suffering. This isn't about her. This is about how her husband treated you, her child. Her job is to stand up for you first, and she just wasn't there for you. I am sorry that this has been going on for a year instead of her having your back. Not the asshole. Ta. Screw her. Never had a gay person come knock on the door to ask if I've heard about their Lord and Savior. For those who whinge, for your mom, you're abandoning your child and refusing to defend your child. I hope you never forget that. Am I the asshole for not being grateful about getting $4,500? Me and my sister have just gotten $4,500 each for our 18th that have been saved up for us since birth. I'm insanely grateful as I don't have a way to make money yet and have never received any kind of pocket money, if you can call it that. However, my parents plan on spending the majority is almost equal to $4,000 on my driver's license. My driver's license, which I have been promised to get for free. They've always told me that they'd pay it for me. My sister can spend that money to her heart's content because she legally isn't allowed to drive. I personally think it's unfair she gets it in full, and I'm going to have around $500 left to spend. Don't get me wrong, that is quite some money, but my sister has 9 times the amount. I'm pissed that my parents are not keeping their promise, using my money to buy my driver's license when I originally wouldn't have to pay at all. They might as well just not give me the savings at all, and only my sister. In addition, my sister is also cheaper than I. She doesn't have hobbies, no school she needs to buy supplies for, nor does she ever want anything. There are more important reasons, but they're a little too personal for me. While I already talked to my parents, they called me unreasonable. I want to know whether this really makes me ungrateful and an asshole. Edit. I live in Germany. Driver's licenses are more expensive than you think. Another edit. Here's some info I see a lot of people talking about. 1. My parents' financial situation has been completely stable, and we have by no means trouble with money. 2. My sister can't drive. She's autistic. Imagine a 12-year-old with a couple of extra problems. 3. I probably won't need to act as a chauffeur. My sister doesn't need to go anywhere. She's always in her room. The thing I'll probably have to do is pick my parents up if they're out drinking, and that's completely reasonable. 4. While I don't actually need a license as we have really good transportation, my parents require it. They see it as a life skill you need to learn and maintain. The maintaining part will happen with either one of my parents' cars. I don't need to have an own one yet. 5. I wasn't aware money was being saved up for us until we got it on our birthday. We're twins. My word. Where do you live that a license costs you over $4,000? Gonna disagree here. Not the asshole. What your parents did sucks. Lead you to believe that you were getting a free license. But surprise, this gift we're giving you is actually paying for it. Your sister gets to keep the whole gift. But hey, ha ha ha, we still gave it to you. Asshole move on your parents' part. People are gonna call you entitled, but I think that's bullshit. Does not matter if it's $10 or $10 million. Someone telling you something, then changing the terms of the deal, is still an asshole. If they would have been upfront with you about it, instead they tried to make it something it was not. Sorry, but I'm going against people here, and saying not the asshole. How I see it is you and your twin are both given gifts of $4,500 for your birthday. You're both grateful and happy. And then your parents turn around and say, sorry, we're taking $4,000 of that back and spending it on your driver's license. The way they presented it makes it seem very unfair. Honestly, they should have given you each $500 and then either found something else comparable for your sister or given it to her at a later date for something else. Especially when it was seemingly implied that they were paying for your license before, which it's not paying for it if it's coming out of your own gift money, and that you said getting a license is required? The average cost of getting a driver's license in the Netherlands is €3,271, or about $4,000 source. So the cost sounds completely reasonable. Practice permits don't exist in the EU. Some countries are a little cheaper, others more expensive. SO's sister's money should be also spent on something mandatory like a study, so I tend to say not the asshole, but on the other hand the parents are not that wrong. Not every country is like the US, where you just pinky promise the DMV that you will spend hours with a mature, responsible driver teaching you to drive. I'm going to against the grain here and say not the asshole. My reasoning is that I'm guessing you're twins and your parents saved that money for both of you to give you a boost as you start adulthood, possibly heading to uni. When they started saving, I doubt they knew your sister wouldn't be getting a license. Maybe they did. I don't know. I'm a mom of twins a few years older than you. I didn't give them a cash amount like that, but I bought them a car to share since they were going to college together. I would always make it equitable, and I think you have every reason to expect that from your parents unless they really can't afford it. Maybe you could discuss it and split the cost or something. Am I the asshole for asking my manager not to hire my former friend? 18F, am in my last year of high school. I go to a school for gifted students where, as long as we keep our grades up and complete all tests, no one really cares about attendance. I barely go. I study better alone, and I pick up concepts quickly. Since I turned the legal working age in my country 15, I've been working nonstop. I love working, especially typical teen jobs like retail, waitressing, etc. Right now, I have 3 jobs: waitress at a bar, barista at a bakery, and receptionist at a kids' club. A year ago, I helped my friend get a summer job where I was working at the time. She wanted something to do, and the store needed summer workers. But she's always been lazy. She promised me she would work hard because my name was attached to her hiring. She didn't. She sat the entire time. It was a retail job, and she refused to move from the register even when customers asked for help. She'd just tell them to find someone else. We had multiple coupons we needed to memorize. She never bothered to learn them. Every time someone used one, she called for help from another employee. She made a ton of extra work for everyone. She got fired after 2 weeks. Meanwhile, I got a raise and was made responsible for the store whenever the manager wasn't there. Ever since then, she's been weirdly obsessed with working wherever I do, like she wants to prove she's better than me. So far, she got hired at 2 more places I worked: the bakery where I still work and a receptionist job at a law firm. She was fired from both. Last week, I found out she scheduled an interview at the bar where I work now. I immediately talked to my manager and explained what happened at every job she's had. I told him that if he hired her, I would quit because I'm not willing to deal with that toxic dynamic again. He didn't hire her. And now she's blaming me, and she's right, because I did warn him. But I don't think I'm fully at fault. I told her she needs to take responsibility for her own actions. She and her friends have been harassing me nonstop to apologize and ask my manager to hire her anyway. What should I do? Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. I wouldn't recommend a lazy friend either. Your reputation has already been damaged once, so it is wise of you to not let that happen again. But I would put her on an information diet to prevent her from doing this. How did your friend find out you spoke to the manager? Did he tell her or did you? Why are they mad? It's not your decision, but you have the right to protect your professional reputation and workspace. Thumb her to find her own job. Not the asshole. Sounds almost like you're being stalked by your friend. I'd tell her to stop following me around. Not the asshole. Just block her and move on with life.